Okay guys, welcome to today's video. So a quick one here. We're going to be discussing refining, how you can refine your order blocks for precision entries, right? So this is basically for s- confirmation entries, like smaller time frames where you want to catch those setups, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour time frame, right? So there are several methods that you can use to actually refine your order blocks in order for you to get that precise entry. You know that market would want to just, you don't want to you want to have like very tight stop loss or very tight risk to reward. Okay, and so these methods would help you. Okay, so I'll just be giving it up from a trade I took, right? So we'll be looking at this kind of trade format, right? Okay, which we have discussed previously on this channel, right? This is a beautiful SMC cell model, right? And where you have a low giving you a high, a pullback that could not shift structure, then all of a sudden market made that pullback to the upside, then structure shifts, right? You're now having something like this, which you can now look at the shift, right? Giving you this as what structural liquidity, right? If you don't get it, go back and watch structural liquidity video, giving you this as structural liquidity. Then market taps into it, then you sell to another liquidity target, maybe an imbalance or a previous low somewhere. Okay, so this is a beautiful SMC cell model that I've taught in the past, and you can go to the previous videos to watch. We also have the sell one that looks like this, almost same thing, right? You have a pull up, right? A pull down, something like this, a break, the market comes down and continue, right? Creating an avenue for structural liquidity where you have the shift here. Where is it? Okay, you have the shift here, and you see market comes back down to take out this structural liquidity. All right, let me tag that. Market takes out this structural liquidity here, then so this will now be liquidity to take, then this high will liquidity to target, then your POI would be somewhere around here. This is for the sell buy model, and this is for the sell model. Okay, so we saw something happening recently here, one of the trades I took recently on BTC. So if I want to do a walkthrough, right, like a walkthrough, so that you guys can understand how I caught that, right? If you notice, market has been buying from this region. We have this trend line forming those mini order flows that market was always coming into, one here, one here, one here. Then all of a sudden, the last order flow market created here was taken out from this region, right? Market broke out, means direction is changing. Then we saw market reversing back into that same previous support that has turned resistant, and market pushed down, right, creating a form of another order flow on BTC here, right? So this order flow is not as if you now come and sell, right? Because this is another flow, you come and enter trades like this and say, okay, if market is going to go down, then you want to just sell like this. So this is this is not trading now. This is a 1:1, and where would you want to target before you get a 1:4? So it will just give you, like, if the order flow is huge like this, it means okay, there's lots of sales. There might be market selling from this zone, but it must not typically sell all the way from this region, right? Market can still move inside before selling. That's if the direction wants to continue bearish. You would see that market would not take out this order flow, but if it wants to change it to take out the order flow, uses it as support again to move, just the way we saw it happen here, right? Just the way we saw it happen on this particular zone, right? So what did I see? I saw market, right, creating this aggressive move to the downside, that order flow, and all of a sudden we saw a shift. Then market did this move and, right, just came and tapped the edge of the order flow. Okay, and immediately did that, there was a move to the downside and market actually did that structure shift. So if I go to say smaller time frame to look at the moves very well, you see what happened. A low gave birth to a high, then a low that did not break the structure. What were we looking at? Let me draw the logic here. Alright, so you guys will see it. So this is a low, a high, a low, then a pullback, then now a break. Right, so this is what happened here. We saw low, this low gave birth to a high, right? The market did a pull down that did not break the low, right? Then moved back up, right? Then came back and took it out, which is here. So this move is here, right? You can see the pattern, the structure. So it's good that you draw some of these images down so that you put it down so that you know some certain SMC patterns that you can be looking out for on your chart. So you can see this move right here, right? So this was the shift. So to me, this first pullback that did not actually create this market structure shift from here, and if you notice, there was a kind of a trend line. Market was coming from this region. There was a kind of a trend line, okay, and this other low respected the trend line. That's why it pulled up. Then we saw the break here, right? So now this now created that market structure shift on this zone. So to me, this is structural and this is shift. So now I'm looking at market trying to reverse. What do? I've seen this happened already, and this my high has already tapped into a sell zone, right? And for market to even make this move, it took out this mini, right, this trend line that was here. Market broke out from this trend line, so I know that, oh, this is trend line liquidity. Market will definitely want to come and take it out. Then I'm seeing this kind of structure and I'm seeing trend line liquidity to target, right? Then market all of a sudden is retracing little by little, going upwards. So I would want to target here, then target the liquidity, right? So something like this. To complete this, now we see this move, a pullback that will sweep the structural liquidity, right, to market to come down. I've taught this thing several in the past, so I don't want to really dwell on this, right? We've done it several times. Okay, so from this shift now, so I know that there's a low here and market is moving. So how do I want to catch? This is where catching precision entries come, right? And looking at this order block, you see that it's no sort, there's sort of like, it's not clean, right? Since it's on smaller time frame, going to 1 hour time frame, you see the other block having different candles. So normally you want to pick this last candle here, but now to catch precision entries, there's one method I use, which is the Fibonacci, right? I call it optimum trade entry, right? You know, I've taught you guys how I set my Fibonacci retracement too. So let me put it out here so you guys can see it. Okay, Fibonacci, right? Let me draw it here. So this is how I set mine. I have the 0, then the 50% region, 71, 78.6, 88.6, and 100. So normally I love my order blocks to be within the range of what, 78, right? And this is on smaller time frame for entries. I love my order block to be within the range of 78, like this. So if I'm mapping out an order block, I love it to be around here. So I love to take my entries from the 78.6. So most times if I see a trade pattern like this, I would mark out my Fibonacci low here, then trace it all to the high, right? Then I'll pick my order block from the 78 region here. I'll pick it from 78 all the way to the upside. That's where I want to catch my trade. So you can use this method and backtest it on smaller time frame, right? If you set your Fibonacci just the way I did with mine, right, you would use that. So on this kind of trade, and that's what I would do, because I'm expecting market to take this previous this pullback as liquidity, right? Let me take this to smaller time frame so we see that move very well. Okay, I'm expecting market to take this as liquidity, right? So this is the market structure shift. And I know that a mini trend line, because market was moving low, high, low, high, low, high, then it made low, then it could not create a new high, then all of a sudden a break. So I know that there's a trend line move from here to here that has just been violated, and this low is a target, right? So what do I do now? After I've gotten my optimal entry for my Fibonacci, this will now be the tool I'll mark as an order block. which is still corresponds to the bearish order block around that region. So what happened? You see that price just came into it and pulled to the downside, which validates this SMC setup playing out right here, right? So you can see if you are to trade this, I think I got a 1:4. Stop loss would just be above the order block. Then you target all the external liquidity. I even targeted the imbalance right there on this, so that gave me a beautiful 1:4 trade. You see, you don't need much, just ability to see it and identify it, right? So this is just one method using that OTE, optimum trade entry, with the Fibonacci to 78. Let me mark it down so you guys see it right here. 78, 78.6, 88.6, and 100. So I love my order blocks to be around those region, right? So if you look at that, is the way I picked this entry. And there's also another method that you can use to pick. Let me clear this out. Optimum trade entries. Most times I use, if it's for confirmation entries, I use the 4 hours time frame. If it's 4 hours time frame. If it's for key levels, I use the daily time frame. So it's basically the line chart. I think I'll do another video to elaborate more on that line chart. So you know that there's this tool here, right? This is candles. This change your chart to line, right? So if you go to the 4 hours time frame and you're looking at, okay, this was what we're looking at, right? Okay, if you look at this on the 4 hours time frame, if you take notes, right, to what was happening then, let's change this back to graph, right? So this was where we took our move, this region. So let's just put something there so we can identify it. Right, so this region, right? So if I go to 4 hours time frame and I put it on the line chart, okay, I put it on the line chart. Now at this point, market on the line chart, this was the high on 4 hours time frame, and this is where market shifted to the downside and was now pulling, right? Was now pulling back where we want to catch our entry. So what I do is, to catch that entry, I select the key level here, the top of the highs, right? I'll draw a line above the key level. Don't worry, I'll do more videos to elaborate if you don't really understand. Once I mark this region on the level, if you go to line graph, it will just be like where the body stopped on the key level there, where the body stopped. Now on the 4 hours time frame, market was just basically ranging, right? You can see the noise. 4 hours time frame, it's nothing. BTC is just ranging across this region, right? And a lot of people, if you don't know how to trade very well, you just see market will not really follow patterns and all, because what on a higher time frame is just basically a range. But since we can use SMC to, and we must be very careful on smaller time frame, when market is ranging on higher time frame, we can catch trades on smaller time frame. That's why you can see this. Once we saw this setup, you can come to 4 hours time frame to mark out the key level, right? Now if we go back to the time frame we were doing the analysis, you see that what happened, this was the inducement, right? This was the inducement, and this was the key level we marked out, right? So if you place your order block, say from that key level to this upside, you have got a sweet entry. And what happened? Market actually tapped into it. So you can see the precision of this entry. It will now give you what we call sniper entry, right? You see most times when I post my chart on Twitter, and you see that market just tap the entry and makes that reversal. So these are, I normally catch those precise entry, right? And it will take some time for you to perfect it. If not, you'll be missing so many entries and you just be seeing like missed entries. So you can see 2 ways that actually gave me exactly what I want. The first one was I used my optimum trade entry, right? And the second one, I used the higher time frame key level on the line chart on 4 hours, right? 4 hours was what gave me that key level, right? And it just fit into the zone, right? The order block on lower time frame market want to just come into, and you can see how precise that is. And right, so I believe you guys have caught 1 or 2 things. Number 1 was this setup, right? You see that typical sell setup on, you see it playing over and over. Though the 4 hours time frame, right, the 4 hour time frame on BTC on this particular range has just been ranging up and down, no pure direction, but we could catch something, right? We could catch an entry setup on this place on the 15-minute time frame. Why? We saw this trend line break, and you can see our market came trend line from here, this mini trend line inside this range. When it broke out, you can see our market still came aggressively and took it out right here before it reversed to the upside, but you are out of your trade. That's how beautiful. 1:4 and you're out. Okay, so these are two. There are other methods to catch, to get precision entries, right? But these are the two main ones I've discussed in this video. Okay, so practice it, go to the chart and back test, and you will now be able to see it on the chart. And if you can see it, definitely you can trade it. So that will be all for today, guys.